Hi, our group will be discussing about Buddhism. So what is Buddhism?
The history of Buddhism. Every religion has a founder, and Buddhism is no exception. Siddhartha Gautama, or the Buddha, founded Buddhism more than 2,500 years ago in India. With about 470 million followers, experts consider Buddhism to be one of the major world religions. Its practice is most common in East and Southeast Asia, although it's gaining popularity in the West. Many, many Buddhist principles and philosophies are shared by people of different faiths. Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, was born into an affluent family in 563 BCE. Gautama turned away from his life of luxury and embraced asceticism, or intense, means self-discipline. Gautama, or Enlightened One, became the Buddha after 49 days of meditation. At around 528 BCE, he made this announcement in public and attracted a group of followers who went to become Buddhist monks. Gautama's supporters began to create a religious movement after he died in 483 BC. The Buddha's teachings laid the groundwork for development Buddhism. Buddhism has a strong individualistic component. Everyone has responsibility for their own happiness in life. Buddha presented the Four Noble. And what are the Four Nobles of truth? There are suffering life. The cause of suffering is desire. Ending desire means ending suffering, and following a controlled and moderate lifestyle will end desire and therefore end suffering.
So Buddhists also have their own social stratification, which what they call the caste system. The highest rank in their system are the Brahmins, or the priests and teachers. Second are the Kshatriyas, or the warriors and rulers. Third are the Vaishyas, the farmers, traders, and merchants. Fourth are the Shudras, or the laborers. The last one, or the fifth one, will be the Dalits, or the outcasts. They are the street sweepers, or the latrine cleaners. So, in order to solve this dilemma, uh, the Buddhists presented the Noble Eightfold Path, which are the right belief, right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right occupation, right effort, right mindfulness, and the right to samadhi, or the right to meditate. According to this practice, following the paths will ultimately result in being free from samsara, or the never-ending cycle of rebirth and suffering. Many followers of this path to enlightenment participated in an emerging Buddhist monastic tradition, which monasticism refers to religious way of life which involves leaving behind worldly happiness or pursuits and devoting oneself to spiritual or more eternal activity.
The life story of the founder of Buddhism. Siddhartha Gautama was the founder of Buddhism. He was born in the 5th or 6th century BC between the borders of Nepal and India. He was named Siddhartha, which means one who has accomplished a goal. His father is King Suddhodana, who was the leader of a large clan named Shakya. He is married to two sisters named Maya, Siddhartha's mother, and Pijapati Gautami. His mother Maya died shortly after his birth, so Pijapati raised Siddhartha. Their family came from the Kshatriya caste, who were the rulers and warriors under the Hindu caste system. Kshatriya is ranked second among the four castes, so they held power in India for centuries. There were two prophecies on the life of Siddhartha. The nine Brahman holy men stated that Siddhartha will become a great ruler or a great spiritual teacher. King Suddhodana preferred the first outcome, so he raised Prince Siddhartha with luxury, one where he is shielded from the knowledge of religion and human suffering. When he was 16, he had an arranged marriage to his cousin named Yasodhara, which was a normal custom at the time. She is the daughter of the Kaliya chief, and her mother is the sister of King Suddhodana. At the age 29, Prince Siddhartha still has little experience and knowledge of the world outside the palace. He is not aware of the realities of sickness, old age, and death. Because of his curiosity, he asked a charioteer to take him on a ride through the countryside. In this moment of his life, he witnessed an aged man, a sick man, and then a corpse. Siddhartha came to realize that people have little control over their lives. Finally, he saw a wandering ascetic. They renounced the world and sought release from the fear of death and suffering. This encounter will lead his life to dramatic change, which is known as the Four Passing Sights in Buddhism. Prince Siddhartha returned to the palace but took no pleasure in the life he had there. Even the birth of his son did not please him. The child was named Rahula, which means fetter. While the prince was alone in the palace during the night, he reflected on the things he had witnessed outside the palace. He realized that he could no longer be content with the current life he has. He left the palace, shaved his head, and wore a beggar's robe. Living the luxurious life he had in the palace, he began his quest for enlightenment.
His journey to seek enlightenment, Siddhartha started seeking enlightenment by the help of renowned teachers who taught him religious philosophies and how to meditate. He learned everything that was taught to him, but doubts and questions still remained unanswered. Together with 5 disciples, they left to find enlightenment by themselves in attempts to find release from suffering through physical disciplines such as enduring pain, holding their breath, and fasting nearly to starvation. And all these practices, Siddhartha was still not satisfied. Siddhartha realized that the path of liberation was through the discipline of mind and that needed nourishment to build up his strength for the effort of finding enlightenment. Apparently, his companions left him after he received a bowl of rice milk from a young girl. They assumed he had given up on his quest. Enlightenment of Buddha. Siddhartha sat beneath a sacred fig tree known as the Bonhi tree. Bonhi means awakened in. It is the place where he settled his meditation. During his meditation, a demon named Mara, whose name means destruction, that represent passion, that people tried to disturb Siddhartha by seducing him using his beautiful daughter. However, he failed to seduce him. The demon claimed the seat of enlightenment belongs to him and not to a mere mortal. His soldiers picked him as rightful owner of enlightenment and as his witness. Meanwhile, Siddhartha reaches out his right hand to touch the earth, and the earth spoke, "I bear you witness." The demon Mara disappeared, and when the morning came, Siddhartha Gatman realized enlightenment and became a Buddha. The Buddha as a teacher.
What is Buddha as a teacher? Buddha was reluctant to teach because what he realized can't be communicated in words. It is only through discipline and peace of mind that one could experience the great reality. Listeners who fail to experience it will misunderstand the things he says. Through his compassion, he was able to transmit what he had experienced in meditation. After his enlightenment, he found the 5 companions who abandoned him, and he preached his first sermon to them. Instead of teaching doctrines about enlightenment, the Buddha chose a path of practice in which people can come to realize enlightenment for themselves. His teaching attracted hundreds of followers. He reconciled with his father, King Suddhodana, and his wife became a nun and disciple. His son Rahula became a monk at the age of 7 and spent his life with his father. The last word of Buddha. At the age of 80, Buddha entered parinirvana. This is a passing of a person who has achieved nirvana during their lifetime and is released from rebirth and death. His last words were, "Behold, O monks, this is my last advice to you. All compounded things in the world are changeable. They are not lasting. Work hard to gain your own salvation." His body was cremated and his remains are placed in stupas, which is a dome structure common in Buddhism found in many places like China, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. The Buddha has inspired millions of followers. Even after 2,500 years, his teachings remain significant for many people and is one of the fastest growing religions throughout the world. Through the existence of Buddhism, they believe that everything is temporary and change is inevitable. Thus, it believes that life and the experiences are endless. These are different worships or spirituals that can be practiced by other religions. These are the different practices. First, mantras. Buddhists may chant repeatedly as this is a form of meditation. Second, chanting. Buddhists may sing the scriptures. Third, mala. Buddhists may use a string of beads to help them focus during their worship. Fourth, meditation. Buddhists may use meditation to open themselves to a higher state of awareness. Meditation is central to Buddhism. Fifth, bowing. Mahayana Buddhists often bow as a sign of respect. And lastly, offerings. Buddhists may leave gifts as a sign of respect and reverence to Buddha. These gifts may include flowers, which are beautiful but fade and serve as a reminder of the impermanence of things. They may also include candles, which are a mark of light and wisdom.
The Buddhist spiritual practices are comprised of three main parts. The first part is comprised of the jewels of Buddhism, which is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. These are the pillars of the Buddhist life or practice. First, Buddhists seek refuge in the Buddha, who is Siddhartha Gautama. Second is they seek refuge in the Dharma, which is the Buddha's teachings. And third is seeking refuge in the Sangha, which is the spiritual community. And the second part reveals the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And the first noble truth is suffering exists. Second is suffering is due to desires and attachments. And third is due to this, suffering can end. And fourth, the cessation of suffering comes via the Eightfold Path, which is how we can live with compassionate non-attachment in each moment by perfecting these 8 steps. And in Buddhism, right is equal to compassionate. So the 8 steps are: first, right view, or right or compassionate view. Second is right or compassionate intention. Third, right or compassionate speech. Fourth, right or compassionate action. Fifth, right or compassionate livelihood. Sixth, right or compassionate effort. Seventh, right or compassionate mindfulness. And eighth, right or compassionate meditation. And the third and last part, Buddhists must understand the 5 skandhas or aggregates. The first skandha is, or aggregate, is the rupa, or the physical form, and it believes that we are not just the body. The second is the vedana, or emotions or sensations, and it believes that we are not what we feel. And the third is the samjna, or perceptions. It believes that seeing everything as a manifestation of totality, and seeing things just as it is, and seeing something by its fluid nature. And fourth is the samskara, or mental constructs. It is focused on how we react and act, and it reminds us that we must just act as purely as we can. And the fifth is the Vijnana, or consciousness. And it believes that consciousness is nothing but a collection of sensory experiences. It teaches us to stop identifying with consciousness. With all of these in mind, Buddhism is all about this quote: just flow with everything, flow with them, and do not be attached with anything. And that is all.